Hello Leo, this is a timeless reading for you. I'm using my own cards, my medieval oracle deck. In the middle of the deck we have the maiden card, then surrounded by the snake, the rose, the mermaid and the healer. At the bottom of the deck we have the moon, and there's a lot of feminine energy here in your reading. Even the snake feels like a female to me. Even though when I created this card, I didn't think of attaching specifically a feminine energy to this card, but it comes up in a feminine energy in your reading. I feel like this reading anyway can strongly apply to men. This could be energies that represent someone in your life. For some of you, someone you are romantically interested in, but it could also be a friendship. It could be someone you're related to. And if you're a woman, those could be your own energies. Usually I would say just because there are feminine cards doesn't mean that if you're a man they can't be your own energies. In most readings I say that, it just doesn't matter if the card is showing a woman, it could still represent you if you're a man. In this case I feel it's a bit different. If you're a man, this is a woman in your life. If you're a woman, this is either you or another woman in your life. This woman might be literally poor financially. Doesn't have to be. This is just for some of you. If this is not, a lack of finances, it could be that this person just has a lack of self-confidence or a lack of self-respect. It could be someone who doesn't have a very high opinion of herself. It could just be a lack of experience, which does not mean at all that this person is naive or doesn't have a certain knowledge, or she has experience, life experience, but in a certain topic she doesn't have. And I often, when I look at this maiden card, she has this astonished facial expression, like she has these big eyes and, she's just looking a little bit shocked. A shock doesn't always have to be negative. And it could be that's how you see her. Weirdly enough, the first, the maiden was the first card I pulled. Then I pulled the unconscious position, the snake, which has several meanings in my deck. But when I only had these two cards together, I immediately felt like this maiden might be poor in some way or lack some kind of experience in something. I mean, let's say she is financially poor, then she maybe isn't very, how to say that in English, well-traveled. She hasn't seen a lot of places in the world because she can't afford it. That's what I mean with she is inexperienced. I don't mean that at all in a negative way about her. I don't perceive her in any naive or, in this typical young energy. Like, the younger we are, usually the less we know. But sometimes when people are young, they think they already know everything. This is not someone like that. And I'm seeing a certain skill in this maiden connected to the snake. Either she's very well trained in She is very well trained in a certain area that most people have no idea about. It could be, if it's not a spiritual gift that she has, which I'm gonna get to that later, it could literally be that this person is very well trained in handling snakes. Just as simple as that. She could even work in a circus and do something with dangerous animals and be very good at that, but in another field of life she's very inexperienced. You know, we say, or scientists also often say that if, for example, if someone is blind, physically blind, then their other senses increase. This just as a metaphor now for this kind of maiden situation, like utterly inexperienced in something, but unbelievably experienced with something very specific and special that probably not even 1% of people in the whole world are experienced with. There is something very magical about this maiden right now. A very unusual gift that she has, and it could be a spiritual gift. I also look at her or him I mean, for some of you it could be a boy or a young man. Very brave, or no, actually I don't feel like she's brave, she's fearless. Because she's seeing something that others can't see, so that she doesn't fear it. Because she sees through it. She looks a little bit fanatic, and I also don't mean that in a negative way. It could be, if you're a man, that you have a crush on this person. If you're a woman, and this is a woman, you could have a crush on her. It could also just be that this is your child and you want to give them a gift. It could be that maybe if you are also financially restricted and this is your child, maybe you always wanted to make them a specific gift, but you couldn't afford it and now you can. This is one thing I'm getting. If this is a romantic relationship, it could be that you are wealthier than this maiden person and you want to make them a gift because you really appreciate them. She has turned her back to this gift, not because she doesn't want it. She doesn't see it coming. She's not even asking for a gift. She's focused on her thing here. She's obsessed with her snake, whatever this snake is for her, her special skill. This is what she is dedicating herself to. And someone, out of whatever reason, romantic interest or just a very innocent kind of love, like a parent's love or a friendship, someone wants to make this maiden a gift. Now, because I said so often it doesn't have to be a romantic situation for everyone, but why I feel like for some of you it is a romantic situation is because we have the mermaid here and she often makes me think of some kind of love situation, often also unhappy love. It is also a sexual card because she represents water, but it's not, you know, this soulless, emotionless kind of sexuality. It is a very emotional and sensitive kind of, a healthy one. Water is representing our emotional world with all its movements but it also, is a symbol for the energy of our creative chakra, of our creative energies, which are also our sexual energies to some extent. And the typical story of the mermaid is, this unrequited love, or just this, even if it's a requited love, like this impossible kind of love situationship where she is in the water and he is on the earth and they can't be together. So it could be that some of you might find yourself in the situation with this person, if this is a romantic situation, that you in the past, even present, you might feel like you can't be with this person because you are so different, and either society doesn't allow it, or this person is just has turned their back onto you because they are in their own world and your world doesn't seem to fit into theirs. But there is no societal restriction. It's just the will of this person to turn their back. So there's something unhappy, or was something unhappy about that. Or if this is a friendship, it could also be that maybe you might admire this person, or if you are this person, someone is admiring you and your skill, but they are afraid to approach you, even if it's just on a friendship level, because they worry that, that you are just not compatible as friends because you are both so different, but just, because two people are living in entirely different universes doesn't mean that they can have a friendship, I think. I don't perceive this mermaid card in a negative way. So I think if this is the case for some of you, it could even be, you could be the parent of this maiden person and feel like you were always a little bit estranged from your own child because it was different than the other siblings. Maybe it is just an example. It doesn't have to apply to you. Let's say everyone in the family is an academic, but this person could never was interested into stepping into any of these fields, and you never force this child to. You always, let them have their free will, and they chose something very specific that I don't see any worries about this. I also don't see any displeasure. As I said, I more feel like whoever this person and what their specific skill is, there is an admiration towards that. But it could be that you might feel that this person is not giving the same kind of attention back to you. Not that this person doesn't like you or rejects you, but that they just don't understand the world that you live in, because their universe is very magical somehow, and maybe the other person is more in some kind of logical environment. I don't know how to express this. Something that is more considered as normal or mainstream. And it's not that the maiden despises that, but she just can't find any interest in that. But there's a resolution to this whole situation because, as I said, the mermaid is giving me a good vibe. And on top of the spread, we have the healer, which I feel like is not one specific person in this reading. This is more like like an energy of healing in general. Like I feel like this situation, if there was some unhappiness in the past or something that couldn't be crossed, a bridge that couldn't be crossed, something that felt impossible, this will vanish, this will be healed. You will be healed, the person will be healed. It could also be that the person just didn't feel, because I said in the beginning that this person might have a lack of self-confidence. Maybe they might even be ashamed of this certain skill and gift that they have, because it is so unusual that they feel they don't deserve to be a part of your life because you are so normal in quotes, and they are a little bit, nerdy in some way. So out of this slight sense of shame, they turned their back. So there's a healing for all parties in this situation and for the situation itself. We have the moon at the bottom. I said that in the beginning. It's a feminine card. It's a motherly card. So it could actually for some of you be a child-parent relationship. The moon could also just represent a spiritual feminine energy that is not embodied somewhere within a person, but it's just playing in the background. That will bring in this healing, that will bring in some insights into the situation, into the maiden and into the person who is approaching the maiden. So that both sides have a certain inner realization, and then they can meet each other again in this harmony. Not in disharmony, but in, oh my God, in this harmony. Yeah. Shall I go any deeper? No. I'm just gonna ignore the rest of the cards here. Leave it here, and thank you for watching.